How's it going, Raider Nation? It's JT coming at you with another episode of the RaiderCast, your podcast for everything silver and black. Yesterday was kind of disappointing, but also kind of made me I was fine with the loss. Now let me explain. Obviously, if you watched the pregame show, you saw that I predicted we'd get blown out 41-17. I thought that, the Niners offense was just too good. We were out Chandler Jones and Denzel Perryman. I thought our offense would struggle. Their defense is just so good. They've only allowed like 15 points a game going into this game. They're the number one ranked rushing offense, only allowing like 75 yards a game. Stuff like that. And the first drive was incredible. Just quickly went down the field, got a Waller touchdown. StidHIM looked calm, cool, and collected in the pocket. He made plays with his legs when needed. He extended plays. He got out, was able to do rollouts and get outside the pocket and throw on the run. That beautiful pass to Waller was great. The Niners responded with their own touchdown. We went back and forth. We were ahead at the half, 17-14, and then we ended up being ahead 24-14 in the second with an insanely good Jarrett Stidham touchdown to Davante Adams. That was a 60-yarder, rolled out of the pocket, was about to get blasted by two Niners defenders, waited. Davante got himself open, Stidham threw the ball before he got just destroyed. Adam was able to catch it and go for a touchdown. That was just incredible playmaking ability from the young guy who's never started a game in his life. He finished the game with 365 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a rating of 108.1, 22 of 34 passing, and he made plays with the legs, 34 yards on 7 carries. He made plays. He had 2 interceptions that, weren't really his fault. Definitely, he's obviously a fault behind him for throwing them, but the first one was a tip drill. That one definitely hurt. And then the second one, Colton Miller ran into him in overtime, and he threw up a wobbler. Risky pass in general because Adams was pretty well covered on that play, and there was someone open to the right. But for a first game, that's one of the best in NFL history as a first-time starter. Against the number 1 ranked defense in the league, I was beyond impressed, and it showed, in my opinion, that Carr was absolutely the issue with our offense. It literally just took one guy who somewhat knew the system to just explode and have our offense look really good against, again, the best defense in the league. Josh Jacobs finished with only 69 yards and a touchdown, but let's not forget that their defense never allowed a rusher over 60, an individual rusher to have over 60 yards. We as a team rushed for 135 yards, which I don't think they've allowed all season. They averaged 75 yards a game going into this, and we had 100 before the first half. At the end of the first half, made it to overtime. Our defense made some plays. They stopped them at some points, but they were definitely one of the reasons why we lost. Obviously, they allowed the Niners to crawl back. They couldn't get stops when we really needed them to, which they were able to do throughout the season, but us being down Chandler Jones and Denzel Perryman was a major problem, especially when facing someone like McCaffrey. When you need a hard-hitting linebacker to take him down, he was just rolling all over us. He ended up with 121 yards on 6.4 a carry and a touchdown. He also had 72 yards receiving. McCaffrey was, I think, the difference maker in that game. He was just a wrecking ball, basically. Ayuk had a really good game. He had 101 yards. We were able to take out Kittle, which was great. He only had 23 yards and a touchdown, but that's pretty much taking Kittle out of the game. Purdy had probably his worst game so far. Two touchdowns, 1 interception, 284 yards. Still a really good game from him, but so that being his worst game so far it's impressive. But our defense was definitely the reason why we lost, in my opinion, which is the first time I've ever said that this season. So far, our defense made it winnable every single game. This one, obviously, technically was still winnable in overtime, but this is the best defense. This is one of the best teams in the league, if not the best, arguably. And the fact that we played it this close with all the stuff that's been going on in the organization with Carr being benched and stuff like that, and StidHIM coming in playing like that, once again, as I said earlier, shows to me that Carr was absolutely not getting the system. Absolutely not. And after 16 weeks of being in the system, you would think he would have at least some grasp of it, but clearly putting a guy in that's making $1 million a year and is able to do that against the best defense in the league versus a guy who threw like 7 interceptions in the month of December alone, and he's getting paid over $30 million. I think the decision is pretty easy of why we benched Carr. Our offense looked so much better with StidHIM in. I feel like the players had more confidence. He had more confidence than Carr ever did this season. He, like I said, made plays. He was under pressure 47% of the time and got sacked 0 times. He took 0 sacks. And he made plays where he was wrapped up by the feet and chucked it to Mac Hollins, and Mac Hollins got a first down out of it. That's the playmaking ability we haven't had from a QB in a while. Like I said, the first drive, he tucked it and ran like once or twice. He played a really good game, and I'm proud of him. Proud of the offense. Defense was, again, disappointing, but we're on linebackers that only one of them was even on the practice squad week 1. Curtis Bolton, Luke Masterson, Darian Butler got hurt, concussion. Hope he rests up and is able to play next season. And Henry Lange, something like that. We picked him up like last week. Curtis Bolton was picked up and put on the roster in November. Like, we had no linebackers. Our best corners were Tyler Hall and Meek Robertson. Nate Hobbs had a bad game. Trayvon Murray had a bad game. Daron Harmon didn't have a great game. Our D-line did not get enough pressure on Purdy. He took 0 sacks, but he had some QB hits in there. We're down to the scraps on defense. And it makes sense why we gave up 37 if you really think about it. And really, it shouldn't even gone to overtime. We allowed them to storm down the field way too fast, and we should have honestly intercepted the ball. Nate Hobbs should have had that pick when Purdy just chucked it up in the air, but somehow Ayuk got it. That was a great play by Ayuk, I'm not going to lie. But we absolutely should have picked that ball off. But Nate Hobbs went too far. He couldn't come back to the ball fast enough. We got a good blitz from Meek, and it just didn't work out. So obviously a loss sucks, but I'm excited to see what this offense looks like next season. I mean, we can revamp the O-line a little bit, and if we even get like we've always said, a competent defense, which I think we can, because Chandler Jones is coming back. If we sign back Denzel Perryman, we have a ton of draft capital, and when you get rid of Carr, you have upwards of $60 million in cap space to sign people. We should be able to get a playmaker or two in the free agency, especially from teams like the Eagles and the Colts. The Eagles mostly because they're going to be running out of cap room next year. And they have a ton of one-year deal guys. They can't re-sign all of them. We have our own players we need to re-sign, but 10 draft picks, maybe more when we trade Carr. Plus, like I said, you can get some players in free agency, and you can build yourself a nice little defense on that side of the ball. And with players who are coming back into the system under Patrick Graham, will have another year in the system and should look better next season. Max Crosby's already, having another Pro Bowl season and possibly All-Pro season. Honestly, probably All-Pro because he's leading the league in TFLs. One of the best, run-stopping, tackling defensive ends in the league, despite the low sack number. Again, but he's 3 forced fumbles, a kick block, a fumble return. I think when we have those players back, build up the linebacker core again, bring back, get some interior defensive linemen, and a secondary, and boom. I think we're very much a more competitive team next season, especially if we have, I don't even know who at QB anymore, but it's clearly going to be someone that knows the system, because if you know the system, you can really succeed with the weapons we have. Devontae Adams, I didn't even talk about him yet, 153 yards with 2 touchdowns on 7 receptions for 21.9 average per catch. Darren Waller, 72 yards on 3 catches for a touchdown, 24 average. Foster Moreau, 55 yards on 3 receptions, 18.3. Matt Collins, 3 for 40, 13.3. So clearly, this offense is a big play. Josh McDaniels likes to go deep or just make big plays happen. And this game, we were able to do it, and we almost beat one of the best teams in the league. And next game, we're facing the Chiefs. And I think if we play like we did on offense again, if Jared Stidham has another game like this, or at least close to it, we might beat the Chiefs. Which, you know, draft position and all that, you know, maybe you don't want to sacrifice that, but playing spoiler to the Chiefs would be chef's kiss. Oop, just banged my mic. Sorry about that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the game. I thought it was a lot of fun. Like I said, I think Carr was the problem, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Now, hopefully we can continue this next game, like I said. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. If you made it this far, I appreciate you so much. Check out my other videos that are at the back of the video, or just click on my little profile picture and you'll be able to go right to me, or subscribe there too. And I'll see you guys in the next video, and peace out, Raider Nation.